let the dogs out? Who 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 let the dogs out?
Hey everyone, it's Pup Twigs here from Orlando, Florida, and joining me for episode 9 of Unleashed, I have Pup Biscuit from Longbranch, Washington. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. It's nice and cool out here, and I'm excited to be on.
Well, I'm glad you're here. I know we've both been under the weather last week and had to postpone, but I think we're both finally well enough we can get on a podcast together.
1000%. Both feeling
Yes,
definitely.
exactly. So first, I'd like to find out what was the inspiration behind your pup name Biscuit?
Well, when you think of biscuits, you think of soft, something gentle and comforting, like biscuits and gravy, which just happens to be my favorite food.
Mine too.
I come from a place of warmth and simplicity. I'm a very simple person. I'm very heartwarming and I'm very gentle. I wanted a name that felt approachable and comforting and a little bit playful because, can't be a pup without being a little playful.
That's it. You're exactly right.
I,
So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
you're all right. It's like feeling of when you see a dog wagging its tail. There's no specific reason why it makes you happy. It does.
You're
Or
exactly right.
I think it represents me in a kind of way. I'm just always ready to bring joy, and choosing it felt like a perfect match for the energy that I kind of want to carry with me.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, also, I'd like to find out not only about the name, but about the choice of pup hood. And I noticed you have a muzzle, which I used to have. I started out with a muzzle and I've gone to a full hood. But what's the story behind your pup muzzle?
So when I was first exploring the pup community, I had no clue where to start, what to do, or how I was supposed to go about this. And I saw people wearing muzzles and hoods. Now I'm a big person. I'm 6'6". I'm very broad shoulder. I'm a bigger person, and pup hoods can be very uncomfortable sometimes. They can be really difficult to wear.
Yeah.
And I discovered a friend of mine who wore muzzles. I tried it out, and it was comfortable, and it was felt more freeing because I like people being able to see me, and a muzzle just it felt right.
And that's the reason, I mean, being in Florida, I was worried about the heat in the summertime wearing
Oh,
a full hood, and that's why I started out with a muzzle. But now that I found these neoprene hoods from Mr. S Leather, the heat is not near as bad, so I've gone to a full pup hood, and I love it.
I when I first became a pup, I lived in Arizona,
Oh yeah,
and the heat absolutely trapped it in. It was
oh yeah,
rough.
I can believe it. So how long have you been a pup now?
I've been a pup for practicing 3 years. I started exploring it roughly 4 years ago. It kind of started quickly, slowly learned to accept the fact that this is just it feels right. It's
Yeah.
enjoyable. It's comforting. I I found out about it. Um, you know, I was watching YouTube and I saw some people at a Pride parade, and I thought it was different. I have never seen it before, and I was fascinated by it. I slowly went further into it, realized that being this way wasn't just you know some some kink. It was a lifestyle, and it's enjoyable. It's comforting. It kind of helps everything go a little easier.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Yes. So, in those 3 years that you have been a pup and 4 years looking into it. What have you found has been the easiest part of getting into the pup community?
The easiest part and the hardest part are kind of the same thing.
Okay.
It's the internal aspect, letting myself feel free and playful in this, day to day. It I don't have a whole lot of a local community
Mm-hmm.
that supports it or really acknowledges it. And understanding how it felt was probably the easiest. Being able to accept the fact that this feels right. I don't know why it does, but it does.
Mm-hmm.
And I think being able to have those few people in a community was the most helpful part of it. Because when you go out and you lay in the grass on a sunny day, you don't really
Mm-hmm.
know why you feel so relaxed. It does. It's quiet. It's relaxing. It's the same thing with being a pup. It feels right.
Yeah, I'm with you. So, what advice would you give someone that's just brand new wanting to get into it?
Start small. Find what makes you comfortable, the things that interest you, do some research, reach out to people, just take big steps along the way. It can be a very different kind of lifestyle for people,
Mm-hmm.
and to some it would be seen as off-putting, to others, unusual. But if it's something that you truly are interested in, just find little ways to explore it. You don't have to worry about getting the right gear, what works best, what looks nice.
Right.
Because I personally know from experience, the different gear that you get has nothing to do with other people. If
Uh-huh.
you want a muzzle or a hood, that's completely up to you. And I know a lot of pups, especially new ones, myself included, are very self-conscious about the gear that they wear because they feel like it's not enough. It doesn't follow, the normalities of being a pup.
Right.
It can be really difficult. But if you start small, little things like I have a little bone keychain I keep around with me on my lanyard. Little small steps, going
Mhm.
online, talking to people, going to pride events. That's a big one. Going to pride
Yes.
events, it can be very, very helpful. You get to go out, you get to branch out, you get to meet new pups and more people who understand this and enjoy it. And it's a very healthy space to learn about.
I, I couldn't agree more on that. So, what inspired you 3 years ago to take that jump and get into it?
I've always admired how dogs live just so unapologetically in the moment.
Mhm.
They love with their whole heart, and they find joy in the simplest things. They never wonder about, life. They never overthink whether they're good enough. Just discovering the pup lifestyle, it felt like a way to embody those same qualities, to be able to enjoy being in the now, to be able to live simple and relaxing, just be able to give that affection and that acknowledgement that a lot of people have a hard time accepting.
Mhm.
It reminds me that it's okay to just be me. And, living a pup can be really difficult. Being able to be accepted, or if you're afraid of people, you know, doing stuff, keeping it private, it can be a very difficult lifestyle to have.
Yeah.
But once you accept that this is just who you are, it's amazing. And I've always admired people who can take that leap of faith, that first step into acknowledging who they are and just enjoying. I'm currently on my process, my journey of, accepting this is who I am, and I
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Well, it's awesome. I mean, I'm with you. It's just there's nothing more free than being able to go and get into this headspace and then just go hang out with other people or just hang out at home in it. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely, you're representing who you are, not, who your neighbor thinks you are or who your boss tells you to be. You're being you. And I personally think that's the most important part of it,
Yeah.
whether you have an owner or if you're just by yourself, as long as you are comfortable with who you are.
Yeah,
It's
I
the most
agree.
important thing I can think of.
Well, if money were no object for you and you could travel anywhere you want to go, where would be your number one spot?
Well, I've never been outside the country, so it definitely wouldn't be in the United States. It would be somewhere where I can just run. I love forests. I love trees, the green. It'd probably have to be forests of Scandinavia or New Zealand, somewhere quiet and beautiful where I can just connect with nature. Tap into the freedom
Yes.
of of the forest. It's not about the destination for me. It's finding space where I can relax in peace and just breathe.
Yes.
When you go to, you know, amusement parks, sure, it's fun. It's loud, very loud. There's so many people, but if you take a walk in the forest, you can breathe.
Hmm.
It's hard to explain to people, but if you're just walking throughout the city, you're breathing fine. But if you take a step onto a nature trail or just unmarked land, it's perfect.
Yeah. The seems like the breath you take there is so much different than you take one and just walking down the street at your hometown.
Absolutely. It's like the
Yeah.
first breath of cold air in the morning. Just
Yeah, I hear you. So, what does the pup community look like near you?
to be honest, there isn't one.
Okay.
It's a little lonely not having, others nearby who share this lifestyle, but I think it's made me even more determined to build a sense of community.
Mm-hmm.
And I might not have a group to run with, but I carry the spirit of the community.
Okay.
And who knows, maybe someday I'll be able to make my own move. I have a couple friends scattered throughout the world who are, pups. I know some people who are, big influences in the community, but ultimately there isn't really a big community where I'm at.
Okay.
But, you
Have
know,
you been able to go to any kind of a pup event other than Pride?
I yes and no. I'm a very anxious person. Despite
Okay.
me being, such a big figure, I'm incredibly anxious. And a lot of pups can relate to this. A lot of pups rely on, their owners or their handler. My partner, he's my owner.
Mm-hmm.
He he goes with me. He himself isn't a pup, and he's very new to it, but he's been the most uplifting and supportive person I've
Good.
ever met in my journey. He's taken me to a couple places. I haven't been to a full fledged pup event, but there is going to be one in April in the town I'm moving to, and I'm gonna go to it, and I'm excited for it. I hope to see, maybe some of the viewers or to meet some new pups. It's having a sense of community is incredibly important.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Everyone starts from a small environment or maybe even a big one. There's a ton of big communities out there,
Oh yeah.
but
Yeah.
makes their own journey, and this is part of mine.
Well, here's to April. So if others wanted to reach out to you because they saw you on here, how's the best way they could get in touch with you?
I don't use a whole lot of social media, or at least I don't post very often.
Okay.
But my, I'm always open on Facebook or Instagram. I Like I said, I don't use a whole lot of social media. I'm relatively a quiet person,
Okay, that's fine.
but my Instagram's always open. My Like I said, my Facebook, I'm always open to conversation. I'm just not the terribly greatest at initiating.
Okay, and that's perfectly fine. I leave that open to you all, however you want to do it. So, well, any last words before we get off of here?
Just a reminder that being a pup isn't about fitting into a box. It's about breaking free of them. Whether you have a community or you're going on alone, what matters most is that you're true to yourself.
Yeah.
If you're afraid of someone looking at you different or being ostracized by other communities, none of them matter. Being a pup is who you are, and that is the most important thing in this life. To be able to enjoy truly who you are and to be able to acknowledge that this is your life. So
Yeah.
just keep wagging your tail, play, don't be afraid to let your inner pup shine, and just enjoy yourself.
Awesome. Well, Pup Biscuit, it's been awesome getting to talk to you, and I know we'll be talking again soon. So take care, and we'll catch you later.
It was a pleasure being on.